Alright, welcome back to the channel again. We are doing Legion Season 2, Episode 4, or Chapter 12, however you want to look at it. This is Rob. Full spoilers, the episode just aired, so it's kind of like a reaction and review, but just to say, I have a Season 1 poster. I don't have a Season 2 one. I don't need a Season 2 one. This is a badass poster. I love it. And I love this show. I have not done the episodes in the past. When I think of shows right now that are on, not canceled, they don't have to be currently running, there is not much that tops this show for me, or at least is up there, top tier kind of television shows that I just absolutely love, that will go down in, for me, just the best TV shows ever made. This is one of them. And right now, this is like my favorite show that is currently on. And that's saying a lot. I like Walking Dead. I like Game of Thrones. I really like Better Call Saul. There's other good stuff too, Handmaid's Tale is pretty good, Stranger Things like that. But this is, like Fargo, but this is something just so unique, and the vision of it is so just clear and unique. Like Noah Hawley, who also does the television show Fargo, he's got this clear-cut vision of what this show is going to be. And every week, no matter what, it just gives you something you've never thought about or seen. It's also, like, at the same time, feels like it takes place in another time, like it was filmed in another time sometimes. It's very, it reminds me of sometimes of David Lynch, sometimes it reminds me of Stanley Kubrick. It is constantly challenging you and making you think about things that maybe you thought of in the past, but you never really, until somebody points out something you haven't thought of really. And it's also just a great story of mutant powers. It's a great way of talking about mental illness and reality and society and just there's always something just great and unique being talked about and being shown to us in such an interesting and well thought out way. From the cast and the soundtrack and the set design and everything, I can't think of a single weakness of this show. If I was forced to sit down and just go, okay, what do I not like about this show? I would have to really, really sit and try to figure that out. I can't think of anything. Now, I am getting a little off track because we're supposed to be talking about the episode that was on. But since I've missed, and I never got around to doing any of the other episodes of this season, I kind of was waiting for my poster to come. Otherwise, I would have done last week's. But, speaking of last week's and everything, compared to the first three episodes of the season, this is like a very small scale episode. Still friggin' fantastic. But it's like the most intimate one. The other ones are like, even if they're only taking place in one, little bit of time, there's always like these bigger things kind of going, and they keep, they take you to this person's mind, or this person's mind, or this place, or that place. This is just taking place in Sid's mind. Now, I'm going to assume that everybody knows who the characters are. If you're watching this, you clearly watch Legion probably. So I'm not going to have to explain who all these people are. But David is in Sid's mind. Last week, David got, through to Melanie and, gosh, I always butcher this guy's name, but the one with the memories, Twombly, and Carrie, well, and he found ways to like get all his people to get out. But now he's been in Sid's mind, who is, for lack of a better word, this show's rogue. Um, and you'll never, like speaking of before I get any further, like this show is not, you know, I don't feel like it's in the X-Men universe that we know. It's in a X-Men universe, a different one that I don't feel will ever like give us like we're not gonna. I don't think we're ever gonna see like Wolverine or anybody running around in this. But so I think they could have made this Rogue. I think, but her character Rogue, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's the same basic premise that she can't be touched without like switching bodies and person like things like that. So it's going into what we think David is seeing and meaning, because everything else up until now is getting the other people's minds out of their maze, their loop that they're trapped in, and that's what David thinks he's in for the majority of this episode. Um, Seeing life, what life has been like for Sydney since literally birth till like around her late teens, it seems. And just it's done in such an interesting way with the igloo kind of signifying the womb coming out and the baby that doesn't like to be touched, and the whole mother trying to connect with her daughter, but you can't touch her. Speaking of like, Sid's a mutant, and most mutants' powers don't manifest until they're teenagers, but it looks like, unlucky Sid had her powers manifest like pretty much like right at birth, which really sucks because, I mean, can you imagine being a baby and just not even understanding why you don't like this feeling of this? Not, and how that would just mess you up. Anyway, David keeps experiencing things through Sid's life, and he thinks he knows what Luke sees in, and he keeps seeing all these things, like, oh, it's the couple, oh, it's the painting, oh, it's survival, oh, it's you think you can't, you're gonna show me something that will make me feel like I won't fall in love, love you anymore. All these things, and some of these things are just really, like, it's such an interesting way of looking at it, like kind of again like Rogue, who can't touch people and is so isolated, and no matter what you want, and you can't get those kind of personal relationships that other people have because of your ability. And I really when the guy tried to kiss her, and he calls her a frigid bitch and pushes her and stuff, when she, and you get the girls bullying and laughing, when she took his body and he beat she beat the other girls up in the boy's body and then blames it on him, part of me was like, yeah, get them, I mean, I know it's like self-destructive, but it was satisfying, because who hasn't wanted to take out a bully? Who hasn't wanted to like not make the person pay that's making you feel small and weak, and I'm trying to think of a way to put it, like somebody being that kind of arrogantly pushy and forcing themselves on you, who doesn't want to fight back in those situations? So all these things that David thinks he's got figured out, and in the end, he does. He realizes, it's about surviving, and he almost gets there. And it's her basically teaching David what it's going to take, to win, to fight what's coming. When she realized, when he told her that, future her had said to help the Shadow King, and that in a way she's basically saying, David's image, like this, how much he loves her and everything, it's not, that kind of stuff is not gonna save us. If this is an apocalypse we're talking about, we need to be made of sterner stuff. And just everything that was coming out of her mouth about the sinners burning bright and all this stuff. Like, there was good imagery in this, but mostly this was just, the way that the story's being told and the things coming out of people's mouths about survival and just, what is it going to take to win this war? And I love David's also, like, view, how much he loves her and how it is like a fairy tale to him. And this is her kind of like having to be like, yeah, but that's great, but we're fighting a war. Um, and it was I didn't see this episode coming. I didn't see the, like I saw the, while I'm watching it, I thought it was just going to be this intimate little thing, but just the bigger story and how Sid's really smart. She's always been I like the character, but this takes her to a new level. As far as like my interest in where her story goes. I also really love the use of music in this movie. As usual, you've got Cream's White Rum in there. The end credits, you've got a version of Burning Down the House. I mean, they always just pick fantastic music for this show and the score. They always know how to kick in the different music in this show. That's just so great. I was a little jarred at the part where we see Carrie and Carrie, like Carrie pulling him out of her, and them having David and Sid on the table, and them finding out about the monk. Like it was kind of pulling out of that storyline a little jarringly. But I guess you kind of had to have it to understand what they were going through, that they are awake, but they're just kind of locked and kind of like in a little coma. And I don't really have that much more to say about it. I mean, like again, the visuals in this, the one moment that I guess I shouldn't be talking about is when is all the little things that Sid would do, like when she went to the club and she was experiencing banging into people and very briefly like jumping into, switching bodies very, very fast. And I like, her trying on the different clothes, trying on different personalities and different lives that she could have lived if she didn't have this power. And the whole messed up thing where she switches bodies with her mother to experience like sex for the first time. I don't know if she really knew if it was going to be sex that happened, but then, eventually they switch back and she, back in her body in a shower with a grown man. She's 15. The mother losing it, the guy getting taken away by the cops. Speaking of the mother, I can't remember the actress's name. She's in like every Ryan Murphy American Horror Story type of thing. She's pretty good. She didn't really have much to do, but she was adequate for what they needed. I kind of thought it was a little on the nose, but whatever. And so, I love just all these touches about Sid's character and going forward. And now with the trailer for next week, I should first say, before I even get to that, that at the end, when they come out of it, and, David has learned what he needs to learn from Sid going forward, maybe that, he'll be able to be tough when he needs to be. And I just love that the main show titles are at the end. The very end, as we're going down the tunnel, we see the FX in association with Marvel Television, and the soldiers roll up, and it's Lenny. Lenny is back. She's in chains, looking crazed. And, how did she get a new body? Is what we're seeing real? Like, I'm sure there's somebody there, but is it really Lenny in a Lenny body? Or, is it something that, we're just not seeing it? But from the trailer for next week, it looks like it's Lenny, and somehow Lenny's body is back together. I don't know how that's going to work. But we got Marjorie Clement, we got more thoughts on Shadow King's view of, life itself. And Lenny's saying, like, pretty desperately that shit's hitting the fan. So anyway, love this episode. As intimate as it was, and not as, we didn't have John Hamm narrating, which is always awesome, but this was the intimacy of this little episode and the personal, way that they told this story about Sid and David and the war, and still combining everything that's going on. It's just fantastic, and I can't wait to keep doing videos for this. So if you did like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. Please subscribe. We don't have hardly any subscribers, but that's okay. I don't do this for the subscribers, and I don't do this for the money, and I never will. So we will see you on the next video. We got Handmaid's Tale coming up, Avengers Infinity War at the end of the week, and anything else that I can find. I just posted the Venom trailer reaction just a little bit ago, and Westworld Season 2 premiere. So check any of those out. Anyway, have a great night, and we will see you on the next video.